Hello again, everybody. This is Dan Clouser, and welcome back to the Journey My Mother's Son podcast. Today I'm joined with Liam Brown, who's Corporate Partnerships Manager for Knights Esports Group. Liam, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, Dan, good to be here.
Absolutely. Looking forward to the conversation. This is a space that honestly I'm not that familiar with. I'm not a gamer. I'm not into esports.
No.
But I just thought it'd be really interesting to have somebody in that space. I mean, the whole idea of this podcast is to, find interesting people and tell their stories, help them tell their stories. But before we get started, Liam, just introduce yourself, in your own words. Who is Liam today?
Yeah, well, today I am a I kind of define myself as somebody who bridges the gap between gamers and esports overall to anybody that's interested and wants to get involved. And I help to formulate authentic campaigns through unique ways in order to just really bring people together. That's my MO. I'm focused on bringing people together with something that I enjoy and love and have grown up with, and I just feel like a lot of people can find a lot of enjoyment and growth from this space as well. So that's pretty much how I define myself and really define my passion currently. Um, my path into the space is relatively unorthodox. We can get into that. And coming onto here and being able to tell my story, I hope I'm able to give hope to people who may feel a little bit lost and haven't really found their own passion, because I was one of those lucky few to have found their passion very early on, but it was really confusing. It was a really confusing way on finding where I was going to land in life. So
Yeah.
that's my 2 cents there.
Yeah. No, love to hear more about that. So, you know, tell me a little bit about, how you got to where you are today. Obviously, before we were recording, we talked about, we actually are from two areas in Pennsylvania that aren't that
Mhm.
far apart. Me from Reading, you originally from Doylestown. You're now out in Pittsburgh, went to the University of Pittsburgh to end up where you are today. But, tell me a little bit about that journey that got you, where you are today.
Well, I've always been a gamer. I've been playing video games since I was 8 years old. And it wasn't until when I was in university that I realized I could be involved in the gaming space from a professional side. For the longest time, I always thought I was going to go into marketing, or I thought I was going to go into I thought I was going to go into videography, all kinds of different all kinds of different like career paths. Um, and when I got into high school, that's when I started like honing in on what schools I wanted to go to. And as we were talking, um, most people from my area either went to Pitt, Penn State, or Penn State, or Temple University. And I ended up picking Pitt just because the distance wasn't too crazy, and I loved their international business program, or their global management program, because I originally was going into college to study some kind of global management type field of study. Now, what nobody told me was that you have to pair that with something, right? You have to pair that with like computer science or like law, or something like that, So like, I didn't know that, so I ended up switching to trying to become a videographer. Right, and I was going around the city of Pittsburgh doing small gigs. Like I did stuff for the Pitt's basketball team, the girls basketball team. I went and I did a small gig for a cafe, another one for, what was it? She was a school district representative, and she wanted somebody to make a video for her. And trying to find a way to keep the lights on, I ended up finding a tech internship that paid, and it was with CDWG. And I was in that position. I got to get to know everybody at my university from a professional standpoint, in addition to just being the student, right? And as I'm going into my second year of that internship, that's when COVID hits. Now, this is also my senior year. I have a loose interpretation of what I want to do after graduation, but I'm going in, and I'm so lost. Then I come to find that the company I'm working for, they're doing a big push with esports, and they're, what was it, the Lenovo Legion line of like gaming laptops and PCs and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, so all right. So I started learning more about the space, and I started connecting with the gaming club presidents, other students. And I found that esports was the one thing that was consistent in a newly completely virtual environment, or in a completely virtual world, right, where everybody is trying to maintain social distancing and all these different things. And through all of that, esports was one of the ways that people could still make friends, have that varsity experience, and really bring people together. And that's where I really found my passion for this space. And then I only applied to be part of the Knights, and I applied in a really weird way. I took a big packet, big manila folder, and I put my resume, my cover letter, both of which I rewrote like 10 different times. And I was like, look, this is the experience I have. I really want to work for you guys. And I addressed it to the company CEO. I went to the Steelers offices, and I was like to security, I was like, I have mail for the Knights, and she was like, yeah, just go upstairs. I was like, okay. I was able to get swiped in, and then I talked to some of the people from the Steelers, and they were like, they're not in, but they get their mail, so I could just put it in their mailbox. I was like, okay. A few weeks later, I got a call back from the Knights wanting to meet, and then I went through the normal hiring process from there. But it really started with a vision of wanting to bring people together. And in looking at the Knights, they were like it was the most logical pathway for me, because one, they were local. Two, this is the only organization that's really doing stuff to bring up the space and positively influence the space. And you know three, it's just they had a rock solid team, and a lot of people that conversationally I was really able to vibe with. So that was kind of my path into the space. And what makes it different is that I didn't go into this wanting to be a gamer. Like, I didn't want to be I didn't want to be like a streamer or like a professional player. Like, I went into this true just believing that this was, one, something I was destined to do, and two, just a way to again bring people together. And this really spoke to me, because I'm part of the generation that got we got written off because our passion was like playing video games or watching like anime and stuff like that. Now that's in the mainstream, but I'm part of the generation that was just like, nobody would want to like talk to us in the playground or the cafeteria or in class, like. And um now seeing how much that those things being able to bring people together, like. And I don't gatekeep. I'm like, if anybody wants to play video games, like, come on, like, let's do something, so that's kind of my path into the space. That's my verbose way of answering your question.
No, I love that. I mean, at what point when because again, like I said in the beginning, I'm not a gamer. I mean,
Mhm.
the first game I played to date myself, was Pong, on
Oh, hell
Atari,
yeah. No, no, that's awesome. That's awesome.
you know, um, but so uh, when you really realized that, being part of esports could be a career, like what was that like for you? I mean, because I think even today, especially probably people in my generation, you know, have a hard time understanding that there's actually a career path in esports and gaming, So
it,
when
it
that
felt
became a
like
reality, what was it like for you?
it felt like I was. This is probably a reference that you'll understand. I felt like I was in Star Trek, and how the captain on the ship can see all of the different screens of what's going on the planet. That's what it felt like. I felt like there was so many different realities and pathways for me were opening up, and like I was doing my research. Where is it? I was doing my research on this tiny laptop, but in it I could just see like my future opening up. So as far as like how it felt, I don't know. It felt like I was really captain my own ship, for lack of a better term. And that is something that I really can't put into words of how to describe, just because it's something that was really fulfilling, and I knew that now I have to go down this path and truly commit to it, and not give way to like any of the distractions or have any self-doubt. The self-doubt was probably the toughest part, because I was like, this is something I'm passionate to do, but what if this doesn't work out? What if that doesn't work out? How am I going to get into this space? And instead of focusing on the things that I couldn't control or the self doubts that I had, I ended up focusing on the things that I could control and how I could represent myself, my current skill set, what I could bring to the table, right? And that's where I truly led with that. that I mean that's what it really felt like. I was like, this is awesome. I everything's opening up for me, so now I have to like get down and really push for it.
Yeah, and I love
Yeah.
that approach because that's something that, I think everybody, needs to learn a lesson from, is that there's certain things in life we can control and there's things that we just simply can't control. So,
Yeah.
you focus on what you can control, and that's what go to task with for sure. So,
Hmm.
uh, I think that's pretty awesome that at a, pretty young age you were able to grasp that and understand that, you know, again, it's these things that I have control over. These are the things I'm going to focus on. I mean, was there a process in your life that got you to that point to really understand, that concept of letting go of what you can't control and just focusing on what you can?
Yeah, a lot of that was from upbringing. Um, I had a dad who was self-employed since he was in his like late 20s or late teens, like early 20s. And I had a mom who understood the value of what he was pushing for with how he was like with what he was self-employed, and I always knew the value, and like everybody always hears the values of hard work and the grind mentality and things like that, but what they don't understand is you just have to, you can't just work and work and work. You want to put things into actionable steps, because what the hustling can lead to is this constant fear of that I'm not doing enough. And that is pushed away with, this is something that I realized like early on from my family, that you don't have to worry about not doing enough if you focus in on the things that you are doing. And whether it's making a list or identify or starting small and cleaning your space so that you can better formulate your ideas and have a clear head, and creating those positive habits, waking up earlier. It's all begins with those smaller steps. So I think a lot of it was from my upbringing and finding out that those, once you build those positive habits, then you'll be led down a more positive pathway. So a lot of that was from upbringing, and then kind of just for me testing out what worked and what didn't work, really. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about, what you do. Again, before we
Mhm.
record, you're talking about some of the events that you guys do and some stuff like that. So, talk a little bit about, some of the things that you're working on right now.
Yeah. So one of the cool things that we're working on is um, so my organization, Knights Esports, we're technically three companies kind of put into one. On the first tier, we're the Knights, and that's going to be the competitive entity, right? That's the we compete. We have a roster of four different teams that compete in four different game titles. So we have like a Madden team, a Rainbow Six team, an iRacing team, and um, then we also have like a bunch of different streamers and content creators on that side. Then on the second column of our organization is Knights Arena. And some of the cool stuff there is that we are the only esports team to act as a tournament and events organizer on behalf of different gaming developers. So that's kind of like, to put it into perhaps traditional sports terms, that's like if the NFL gave the Pittsburgh Steelers permission to run professional football games at Acrisure Stadium, which formerly Heinz Field. And not only like football events, but also they could run soccer games, all different types of events in their home stadium. That's kind of what we do. And on the third column, we're a tech developer. So we're developing a bunch of different technologies in social media platforms such as Discord, specifically designed to again bring people together. One of the more interesting things that I am working on right now is with the Knights Forge. It's going to be this massive, one of a kind tournament with in the gaming title called Valorant. And what's cool about Valorant is it's developed by Riot Games, and it is probably the biggest esport or the biggest representation of esports currently on the market because it's just the largest and it has the brightest future. And it's 5 versus 5, fast-paced gameplay. One team is trying to plant a bomb or a spike into the other team's area so that it can blow up and take it down the other team. You got superpowers in it, a bunch of different playable characters, cool weapons. You have one weapon that's literally just like a dragon that like shoots out stuff and it reloads by like taking its teeth and like grabbing a magazine. So one of the cool things that we're doing there is the Knights Forge, and it's going to be this massive tournament. And what makes it so cool is the fact that it is a LAN. So a LAN stands for local area network, which basically a LAN party is basically when everybody brings their own PCs or their own gaming systems to one person's house so they can all play off of the same network, the local network. So what's cool about this is that everybody these are going to be top tier teams that are going to be competing in person. And this is going to be the first time people have the chance to not only meet these teams, but also meet, interact with, watch them compete live, and then also be able to meet all the different industry veterans and pros and executives that we're going to have in attendance as well. So um, it's going to be massive, and it's happening. It's happening. I think it's September like 21st to 24th. It's going to be like a multi-day event, but one of the biggest things that I'm working on right now is just, again, soliciting sponsorship, making sure that see what different brands want to be a part of it, and make sure that this thing is the biggest and the best. Because here's the thing, it's like the only in-person Valorant tournament that has happened in all of North America. It's one of a kind. So I'm really excited. So I don't know if you could tell, I'm really excited. I'm biased, of course, just because my organization is doing it, but like still, it's like this world is just so crazy to me. Every day, every day.
And is that taking place in Pittsburgh?
It is. Yeah. It's gonna be. Yeah, I can send you more details, but it's gonna be at a gigantic movie theater, and they're opening up every theater to have like their own events in each of the theaters. And also there's gonna be a giant common area as well that we're gonna be running big tournaments in. We have a gaming car that we're gonna be bringing in. We're figuring out what entrance we can drive it into, but we're gonna have it outside, of course. But it's like a little Mini Cooper, and we're gonna drive it in, so have it in the front. But yeah, it's gonna be in Pittsburgh. It's gonna be southeast of like downtown. So I'm really excited. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely send me some info on that. I'll put it in the show notes. So if anybody's interested in checking that out, they
Yeah.
have the info right there for them. So that's uh, that's pretty cool for sure. It's like a meet and greet and a tournament kind of all thrown together
Yeah.
in
I
one
I
thing.
mean this is like there's over 30 teams are already signed up to compete, and in addition to those teams, we also have different pro players that are going to be there just like hanging out, which is just crazy. It was just crazy to me. I feel like, but yeah, no, it's gearing out to be a huge, and I have like a link that I'll send over so everybody can get information for it. Um, yeah, that's probably one of the bigger things that I'm working on. And then other than that, it's going to be like the day to day of managing different campaigns that we have, or going after like larger proposals for different brands that want to get involved in the space. Yeah, that's usually my day to day.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so for the teams that are coming in to participate in an event like that, what's in it for them? Like, is there prize money for the winner? Like
Yeah.
how? Okay, so
Yeah,
what?
so one thing that's cool is the fact that the prize pool is going to be around $15,000, but this is an off-season event. And what's different about this is the fact that everyone is looking to establish their dominance in the space. Everybody wants people to know all these teams are specifically from North America. So they want everybody to know, like, look, it's the off-season, but we're still the kings on top, right? And that's the main lure of it because besides this event, there's really no other competitive events for them to be a part of, right? So it's kind of like running off-season scrimmages for other sports teams as well. Like who wants to there's going to be some players that are like, I'm not going to try. They're like, whatever. But then there's the other ones that are consistently working towards dominating their field or becoming a potent presence in whatever sport they're competing at. And that's what this event is attracting. So all of these different teams formerly competed on our stage in the form of the Knights, the Valorant North America Challengers League. So what we did was so Valorant is split up based off of continent, and those continents then go to compete in the Premier League. So we ran the qualifiers for the Premier League for all of North America from this year, from January to June. And some of the teams that either lost out or they placed higher, they're also going to be competing at the Knights Forge, which is the Valorant event that we're hosting in September. So again, this is they have a vendetta against other teams and they lost out in the Challengers League, so they want to come back with a vengeance, or they just want to prove that they're still on top. That's kind of the allure, and then also prize money but prize money and bragging rights.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So the events that you guys run, are they all in the Pittsburgh area, or are you guys running events all
Mhm.
over the place?
Well, we do run stuff with the Steelers, Pirates, and Wiz Khalifa and his Taylor gang. So we run stuff in LA, in-person stuff in LA and in Pittsburgh. But a lot of what Knights Arena, our events and tournament organizing wing of our organization, it runs it on our own virtual stadium. So anybody can come to our Twitch and watch what happens on our virtual stadium. And in there, we're going to run events in different games such as Halo, Valorant, Apex Legends, Rainbow Six, like all these different games, so that everybody can come and watch it and feel like they're a piece of the action. And what's the benefit of having it on Twitch is the fact that people can interact with it constantly. We have casters for the events, just like you would for any other sporting event, but people are able to have a live chat and a live dialogue with the action that's going on, right? And then the casters or the athletes themselves can interact with the Twitch chat as the event's going, So that's and then on the flip side, the in-person events that we do with the Steelers, Pirates, and Wiz, like that's going to be in the form of Rib Fest. We'll booth at these different events and do these really, really unique gaming activations. We have like our own massive dog and pony show that we bring around in the form of our gaming zone that will booth at like different Steelers and Pirates games, or run like full tournaments while like right before the game is going to start, so that everybody has a chance to be a part of some type of action. So then they'll play, compete, might win, might lose, and then they'll go right into their seats in the stadium, right? So that's we do stuff like that, and then over with Wiz and Taylor Gang, we run the Wiz and Friends live stream that they do every year. So we do this cool blend of gaming and rap and fashion and different kind of culture, and we bring it in together in one event. That's one of the things that we do with him and his team. So we're constantly like, here's the thing, I'm a big fan of like making the headlines and doing big stuff and doing fun stuff, and all under the guise of bringing people together. We're able to bring people who from all walks of life, all interests, to come to our stage and be like, there's something here for you, and there's something in gaming for everybody. And I truly believe that. Whether you play video games or not. I mean, have you ever watched like Mortal Kombat, professional Mortal Kombat? It's insane. You see some of the moves these guys are doing in the game, and you're like, whoa, or you might be not the biggest fan of playing video games, but there's always something that is there for you, right?
Yeah.
So that's really what makes me happy about this space.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you'd think would be beneficial for the listeners?
I think one big thing is the simple fact that health and wellness and taking care of your body or engaging in fitness is instrumental in your performance in the game and also in life in general. And that's one thing that I've brought to the Knights, and I've really brought to esports in general. Um, I'm constantly on my own social platforms shouting out research studies that I've seen that are showcase how different types of exercise or the intervention of nutrition positively benefits esports athletes as they go to compete, or whether I'm reaching out to different supplement brands and to really facilitate that culture shift that right now we're seeing. I mean, if you look at some of the video games out there, or you look at some of the You look at some of the different anime that's out there. There's a lot of inspiration for the youth and for gaming and fans to better themselves, right? Whether they want to look like the characters that they're playing at, they want to look like Kratos, they want to look like Baki or Jack Hanma, or they want to do the things that they see in Call of Duty. They want to be able to sprint that far. And once they engage in those positive habits, then they change as a person for the better, right? And that's probably something, one of the biggest things that I like to talk about, because I've followed I've been in fitness right alongside when I started playing video games. My parents had me in sports. I was in the gym with my friends, and from when I was 14, for when I really started being in the gym more consistently, to now, I can tell you there's a lot more gamers and fans of gaming, esports, anime, that whole geek culture, we might call it, in the gym. And they're trying to emulate those things, right? And again, I've talked at length about bringing people together, but like now what we're seeing is the merging of different interests, all happening in the gym and all happening in the game. So how do we bring these guys together so that they feel at home? They're they're expanding their friend group. They're having that big experience that they can talk to their friends about. And how do we just truly bring more people into the space and bring people together? And one of the ways I believe is going after those people who um, they want to emulate what they see in the game in real life. And one of those ways is through physical fitness and taking care of your body and things like that. And also, like, it helps to develop the personality as a whole, and also helps to build those positive habits that will take you anywhere. So that's another thing that I like to talk about, and one thing that, like, I'm really trying to change the space. I'm here to change everything.
Yeah,
So.
and I think that's probably a misconception from a lot of people where they don't necessarily think that fitness and gaming go hand in hand. So I think that's pretty cool that you're out there really trying to promote that and
Mhm.
making people understand how it is all intertwined.
Yeah, that's and I couldn't agree more. That's again, that's something I'm trying to change, and it's working. So
Cool.
yeah,
I love that. Good luck to you on keeping that momentum going for sure.
yeah. Thank you, man. Yeah.
Liam, how would if people want to find out more about Knights, find out more about what you guys
Mhm.
are doing, attend any of the events, how would they go about finding you guys on the internet?
Easiest way is go on knights.gg, which is our website. And from there, you can go to our Twitch. And our Twitch is going to be where all of our cool events are hosted. If you want to find out more about that land, perhaps if you guys want to attend, because anybody can come in attendance and watch. It's a 4-day long event. So if you can't make one day, you can make the others. Go to pks.gg/knightsforge. I have it open right here. That's why I'm able to read it, but I'll also send it to you. Uh, and that's coming in September. So for any of you out there that want to skip school for a little bit, no, I was kidding. Don't do that. But that's going on in September, and I know some schools like are starting in like August and September. But I think head to our website and also check out the Knights Forge. And then if you guys want to connect with me or anything like that, you can find me either on like Liam Brown on LinkedIn. Just look like Liam Brown Knights. I'll come right up. Um, but that's I'm at most active on there. So yeah, that's definitely how you guys can reach out to us.
So, Liam, as you know, the subtitle of the podcast is "Many Little People in Many Little Places," which comes from the opening lyrics of a Michael Franti song, which go, "When many little people in many little places do many little things, and the whole world
Mhm.
changes." So, what's one of the little things that Liam does on a daily basis to make the world a little bit better place?
Um, that's a tough one. I think one thing I do is to every day I consistently look to how I can better the current outreach that gaming has to a wider audience, purely under the guise of, again, bringing people together. So one thing that I'm always doing is looking into different audience groups, different fan bases, and seeing how they can fit into my space so that I can give them another home, in entertainment, right? And
Yeah,
that's probably what I do. every day.
I think that's a big deal. Anytime you have an opportunity to bring people together, that's a good thing. I mean, because I think, one of the things that we've learned, through traveling full time is that when you really have an opportunity to sit down and have a conversation with someone or connect with them, even though you may have completely different backgrounds and, some completely different beliefs, if you actually take the time to have a conversation and understand them, you're going to find out you have a lot more in common than what you don't. So I
Oh
love
yeah.
the fact that you're really out there focusing on bringing people together and, focusing on those, commonalities opposed to those differences.
Yeah. I'm at every level of this, man. I'm on the grassroots explaining it to people and parents who have no interest or didn't even know that this space existed. And I'm at the higher level between different executives trying to figure out how they can better make themselves more relevant to a wider audience. I'm at all sides of this. So I'm happy to be in the position I'm at now where I'm able to create those shifts and culture and thought for people to better themselves and better get connected to like-minded people. So,
Love it.
yeah, thank you.
Thanks a lot for taking the time to joining me on the show today. It was very interesting. I loved having you on. And for folks out there listening, be sure to check out my other podcasts and blogs at journeymymotherson.com. Liam, again, thanks so much, and wish you the best of luck moving forward.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Bet.